Hey folks, Brother Kenneth here, and today I am going to talk about something that I ran into once again. You look at this picture on the right, for example. There was a priest who put up a post saying that a priest friend of his sent him this photo. Sent him a copy of this photo. Okay. I don't know the guy or anything like that. But because he made comments on it, at first I was going to say, oh, please tell me this priest doesn't believe that. And when I think what he did, rather than to dispute or verify the photo, what he did was says, what is this telling us if this is true? What is this showing us? I think that's important. But first off, before I get to that, I'm going to go to show you the rest of what we're looking at here. Okay, I don't have a pointer set up on here where you can see the mouse going over here, but you see it looks like some sort of demon bending over, and he's kind of straddled and he's hunched over and he's looking to the right. You can almost see it when you look a little harder too. And that one is the leg that's moving over to the side, like he's looking to see, what was that sound? Yeah, what was that? And he's standing over someone in a hospital bed, supposedly there's a head at the top or something. And we've seen these images too for the incubus and succubus, or some of the images that you'll see that have the saints like St. Francis Borgia, and he's in doing exorcism over someone in the bed, and there's demons at his bedside. Another one, and some sort of a small little imp-looking demon is sitting on a guy's chest. Yet another one, and like I said, there's a lot of them. They show that same kind of thing, and the person is lied over like they're getting the energy sucked out of them, like the vampire, but they're just sitting on their chest. So this, it's not an uncommon thing, to even have that idea and then have it fed by videos that are videos, because it's a closed circuit. No one, if they would have showed us the video, and I don't know, was the original one in color? Was it just black and white? There's still a lot of closed circuit televisions out there that are black and white, even though the technology's so cheap. If they bought the old technology, it would still be too expensive because of, the price and the weight and the availability of the equipment. Now it's just not practical. But this would, if I could, I wish I had a pointer. I'll have to figure out a way to do that next time, to add that on there. But it does look like a leg, the way you get skinny near the bottom, and then there's, a foot. But aren't we assuming too much about demons? Demons don't have a human form. And actually man is made in the image and likeness of God, referring to Jesus. That was the plan. God was going to walk among us before we screwed up. Talking about human nature in itself. So I'm going to go to the fun part, which I consider fun part, because I like debunking photos, because we get thousands of them over the years. We don't get as many anymore. Maybe we got that reputation. And then all of a sudden, we'll get like a bunch of them, and we say, hey, you want to not see that anymore? Stop looking at the pictures, because we'll see wrinkles and pillows that someone details as a demonic spirit. And one of the ones I thought was, that I seen, it looked like wood grain, and it looked like a demonic face. I'm thinking more than normal. Scary, like a hooded specter and a whole 9 yards. But see, demons don't go out of their trouble to reshape the molecules and doors to make their face known. Now, they might make you look at it and use your pareidolia skills so that to pay attention to it. And they do that a lot. They get you to notice and pay attention to stuff, so they start to drive you crazy and manipulate you. But they're not really, what are you, the President of the United States? You the leader of some country? You the Pope? Why would they go to all this trouble to rearrange the molecules in a door? That takes a lot of manifested level of power, and they don't have it to use it at will like that. Most of the time, that you have to give it that kind of power so that they do that. In other words, you have to keep doing things that please them and basically push you away from God, push God away from you. So anyway, on the door thing, I had a picture. I bet I could find it if I looked really hard for it. It was pretty creepy looking. But it doesn't even mean anything, because how many doors are produced, and how many can have and if it shows up and it looks exactly like your mother, that's different. Like a little curly hair and stuff and all that, coming out from underneath the hood. But have you seen all these guys? They got every time you see a monkey face thing, it's a demon. And it doesn't even have horns or anything. Now we're going on a rant here. But the picture thing is just ridiculous, because they can call anything a demon. That's the problem. And you can't do that with humans. They have very distinct proportions. Sometimes I've seen these things and they can do the pareidolia thing, like, and I said, that's not the proportions of a human. What is he, related to the Elephant Man or something? You know, he or she? So they look too hard for these things and they want them because that's the reason why they're looking anyway. Or they may be obsessed. Certain levels, you know, of the demonic effect, you know, vexation, even temptation, go into oppression. They'll look and they'll find this stuff in everything. How about sand paint on the wall? That you lay there and you get close enough, they'll help you define patterns that do look like a very proportional artist style of a demon face or a human face. You know, that can happen, but it's manipulation of the mind. It might even be offset, so if you look for it again or if you traced it, you might go back later and you go, wait a minute, I don't see it there anymore, because part of the oppression is that they might make you see something that's not there. Manipulate it so it bends it, your vision, not the object. That takes a lot more, you know, manifested power. You know, the Exorcist really blew it out of proportion with this stuff happening, and it's such a rare extreme case. When you're present and the chair moves forward, depends on who's present. If they're not threatened by you, perhaps, and that's all they got to do is try to intimidate you through moving things around, but it's not going to get them anywhere. All it does is help validate that they're there. They might go to the strategy of making you think that maybe it's all mental. Why would they want to put on their full show? You know, and then the girls possessed 24/7, spitting up pea soup and all those kind of things. That a lot of them ones, the only time you see spit up pea soup is when the spirit leaves, and it's a sign of departure in a way. I mean, to be useful, but it's not like we tell, okay, now throw up, prove you're gone. But they do that for some reason. And Gabriel Amorth gives an example of the person throwing up batteries. We don't know what they'll do that because they can make it manifest as it's coming out of the mouth. It doesn't mean it was in her stomach. You would know if you had battery or one battery in your stomach. Your stomach starts to digest it. You'll get poisoned from the alkaline or, you know, whatever the battery has in there besides the alkaline. Okay, now we can go on and on about that stuff, can't we? Let's go back to this so we don't make this one too long. Now, you see how this is supposed to be the demon's foot that says the leg? That's the leg of the patient. Now, do you see where the head and everything adjoins, and it's just a person with one leg propped up? And then over here you have the bed rail actually completes the body of the supposed demon, that you have to be aware of that because it fills in the blanks, like, say, between the knee and the coat. There's a coat hanging right by the bed there. Then you have this thing that looks more cylindrical, which we tried to, basically people were thinking, you can start to see where the person saw that the demon body was. That this, it looks man-made. The coat filled it in right there, and some people, no, it's a demon. Well, you see the other foot laying there right across there, or it could be under the cover or whatever. Okay, and I'm going to show you this. This is when they erase the things that were not relevant, and you can enhance the body. Now watch. Let me see if I can get it up front. Okay, here it is. Now do you see this is that person's got their foot up, and you can see, and the problem with a lot of these photos is they use you ever see those ones where it's a dinosaur walking across the street, and it's always really foggy, and the Bigfoot ones and stuff. Where's the clear shots at? The problem here again is foggy makes everything blend together. But, you know, when you look right here, you can see that it looks like the stooping demon again, and except for the fact that they enhance where the coat is, and this cylindrical thing where the back's supposedly leaning over, and then we know that's the lady's or the man's foot, you know, with the knee going up and then back down to the body to connect to the body. And the bed rail is the thing that they turned into the, it's the side bed rail that's on the part that goes up and down when you motorize the bed. It became the body, you know, the leg connecting to the body. But that's an example right there. And so now let's get to the point, besides goofy fake photos or whatever, people stop looking so hard for it. You know, and don't stop the presses, don't call the press. And certainly don't send them to people in the church, because it's, you know, when I saw these photos this woman was taking, I had a scheduled visit, but I was bringing our psychologist because I was leaning more towards that. When she started sending these photos, not that one, you know, but other ones that I'm not showing, I looked at them, I was like, oh boy, I can't see anything. And she has to point them out. It's not demonic, for one thing. It's not supernatural. Look like a normal picture. And you know what? Every time they pointed them out, I go, Yeah, I still don't see it. It's worse than Paradiola. It's almost that they had been manipulated to the point where they're looking and seeing demons, and they make it sound so clear. And then they say, "Oh, my brother and sister saw it too." I can just see them say, "Oh yeah, I see." Just to be polite to your relative, or we just have to be blatant sometimes, but not rude or anything, of course. So let's get to the other part of this thing, which is I wanted to mention about why this photo is relevant in another way, and the priest was talking about it, and that is what happens at the hour of your death. The Hail Mary prayer is made up of 2/3 of Bible quotes. So there are a lot of people out there who are ignorant, the ones who aren't familiar with the Orthodox Catholic faith. But the Hail Mary comes from the Bible. Now, the first part of the Bible, of course, is the Annunciation. Gabriel appears to Mary, and there's an exchange, basically, that honors Mary and her holiness by the angel, which people refuse to recognize, as though she was just randomly picked, But Mary was very special and made special. But past that, at the Annunciation, it was Hail Mary, full of grace. The angel said Hail Mary, not Catholics only. Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with thee. Okay, here comes the visitation. She goes to visit her sister, who's expecting St. John. St. John, as a baby in the womb, jumps for joy in the presence of the ultra-powerful, positive, light energy, whatever you want to call it, that represents Mary with her glow, because the Son of God is being formed inside of her, the physical form. Blessed, blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Okay, that's pretty much what was said at the visitation. You can go to King James Bible or whatever, so you can't ignore that. Okay, I'm getting through the Hail Mary on this thing for a reason. Is the end. Holy Mary, Mother of God. Okay, we're talking God as one person. But that last line in there that says, but on the God thing, I'm just saying that because for people to say, she's not the Mother of God, but the council looked at that in Trent, because some people after Luther's time was starting to challenge that. So they entered all these things that were being challenged and reiterated, affirmed, and expanded on them. What the church knew on the inside that wasn't necessarily part of the catechism, because it wasn't necessary to know that for salvation, but they might have taught in the seminaries and the PhDs, or the bishops and so forth would understand, such as Immaculate Conception. Okay, so Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Why did we ask Mary to pray for us at the hour of our death? Okay, you go into the hospital and you're scared because you're going to get some strange surgery that could kill you. Strange by anything, cutting up, and taking some more, what do you might say, cancerous cell or whatever, exploratory surgery. I mean, it could be anything. And if it gets too close to something, it gets scary. So what are you going to do? You're going to pray, and you're going to ask your mother in heaven, just as you would down on earth, that your mother down here is your natural mother, the one who gave birth to you, or your father, or your sister. Hey, could you say a prayer for me? What's that called? It's called intercession. It is a intermediary. It's an advocate in some level. If they actually could go to the throne of God, you'd be an advocate. Go to court sometime by yourself. Have no lawyer whatsoever. The judge will have no patience with you. He'll think you're making a mockery of the court. If you go in with a judge, you have an advocate prepared who can best represent you, and that is Mary, the wedding of Cana. How did the couple convince Jesus to make wine through Mary? When they were out, it's just alcohol. It's wine. Probably was pretty good wine. They drank it up pretty quick. As we understand it, it was probably, could have been less than half way through the festivities of after the marriage. But Mary, you can just say, interceded on his and her behalf, the couple. Went to Jesus. He said, woman, it's not my time. So it shows Jesus saying it's not my time, and that Mary somehow softened him up. His mother. You remember with the queen, used to be the king and the queen, used to be the mother of the king and the king himself. Until the England, been all those king and queen relationship, then it became someone you marry, I think, for the most part. No, but the other way was the dominant one. So to understand that in the prayer, just not saying in itself, what happens that we have to have, and we say the Hail Mary prayer a lot because of the rosary and all that. And we're saying, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death, amen. But at the hour of our death, something happens. Here's some very disturbing thing right here. Is my dad's uncle was dying. He was an alcoholic. He was rather abusive. And when he was at the deathbed in the hospital, he was swinging his fist. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And it's the orderlies had to come in and hold him back. And he kept looking. He was looking at things flying around him. He said these black bats were flying at him and striking at him. They kept coming in, like that. And then he would swing at him, trying to hit him like a baseball coming at him. And he's got a bat, but he was using his fist. He was a scrapper too. He's an Irishman, And so hearing that's made me think of immediately that have you watched some of these movies? Like Drag Me to Hell. I mean, that wasn't justice, though. To what degree are you going to get attacked? Do you know how this is to the Catholics who understand this, the lives of the saints, that when a lot of these saints died, they got this one last attack. I think you can see it in the movie Bernadette, the one about Lourdes, the story about Lourdes, and it's the black and white one, where she starts, apparently there's a spirit telling her there, because this came from the accounts, the true story accounts, that she started losing doubt that she was even worthy of going into heaven and everything. And demons do that last minute. It's like, what about that time you were a little girl? Oh, yeah, but you didn't confess it the same way you should have, did you? They put these doubts in your last minute, and it's a great favor to do somebody, to pray for them to be delivered of these evil spirits that come upon them, to try their little last snag. So because there's a conscious at battle when you're in a coma, and it's not the physical body, it's even harder then. Well, anyway, so that's a moment that the saints even face at their death, and you got the nuns at the convent all praying for it to death because they know it. It's an old thing. They all knew it. It has not changed, and there has been stories. Well, let me give you an example. We're going to talk about this on Sunday in more detail, but not necessarily related to this topic. Was that Lee that was in the episode of a haunting? Sorry, he was in a coma. And we used the blessing of Saint Mar and some other prayers in there after the mother and everybody pretty much gave up because the doctors gave up. They didn't give up. He was just on life support, and his organs were shutting down. But beyond that point, what would I see there if it was a demon and I could somehow see it beyond that veil? I'd probably see it sitting on the chest. It could be, straddled across just like in that picture, That's why people probably jump to that conclusion. I think a lot of people suspect that a demon is going to be there over you and hovering over you and actually be attached to you in some physical way if they could see beyond the veil. That makes you sick and also kills you. The vampire stories go way back. And when you talk about the vampire stories, people actually came in and saw these things that we now pertain to shadow people or incubus, succubus, and that pertains to their death because they reported it every night, and every morning they got up in the morning and they looked more like they were on death's door. And so eventually they didn't wake up at all and they died in their sleep. And we know that we've seen, and we haven't gone to cases and saw people with something over it, but me and my wife have experienced something like that before. When they're at your bedside, they're hovering over you, including our friend Deb Johnson, or they're on top of you, or they're sitting on your chest, and you're having problems catching breath. You're being attacked. This is no different when you're vulnerable and you're at death. If you're spiritually vulnerable, you're going to get hit even more because now it's time for us to cash in on our chips. Pray for the sick. Pray for the dying. And don't take it for granted. Don't just say, I said a little prayer, because they're going in the hospital. Don't even take it for granted that the hospital's not going to mess up and they're going to cover it up by saying, oh, I'm sorry, they didn't make it. Because the doctor can make stupid mistakes. I've seen what they do to electronics and cars. That's why I want to fix everything myself. Because it's not theirs, so they don't pay particular attention. And they work 18 hours a day, and we expect them not to sew up somebody with, what do you call that, a scalpel and a surgical scissors inside the person? That's why the insurance is so high for these doctors, and then they end up passing the savings on to us. And Lee, when he was in the hospital, it was $250,000. He didn't have any surgery, and he was in there for 3 weeks. Good grief, man! Who's making all this money? who's making all this money? We hear complaints about the doctor saying, I'm still paying on my student loan. You know, and they have like $100,000 student loan they're still paying on, and they're in their 40s. So the doctors aren't getting it too, even though they got big houses and nice cars and stuff. Someone's making way too much money on this stuff, and part of it, maybe they're paying ultra-high premiums so they can keep doing the work and not get sued. But the whole hospital or whole field of doctor, they call it practicing. It's that some people remind me. That's why they call it practicing. Yeah, it's like, hey, don't practice on me. Go practice on somebody else, amateur. And really they are. If you look at mental health professions, they still consider that a pseudoscience. I'm not talking about the doctors. I'm saying about scientists. And I do too, because look at the pharmaceuticals. The MDs are the worst. The surgical guys, the guys who actually put you back together, you know, like Hawkeye and that kind of MASH kind of thing, like meatball surgery. That's amazing. That's almost like an artist. It's like, you know, even more amazing. It's like a neurosurgeon is. But the MD thing, and, you know, no offense, I can't tell the truth without offending somebody. It has nothing to do with the individuals. It has to do with that thing they got trained to do. They give you these drugs that have as many side effects, and sometimes side effects that are worse than what the drug's supposed to take care of. But you can tell me even that if they put any strange ingredient, like we talked about this one time, that they have the cells of aborted baby, they don't call it, not fetuses, I don't like that word, tissue, which is body parts. So suddenly I become a cannibal. If I ingest a human body part somehow, it makes me a cannibal. And you know what? That we'll do another one on curses too. But I don't know how much I can stress the importance of praying for people, and, you know, go in there and bless them or something. If you're their parent, you can't bless people when you're just lady. Even we can't. You know, when we do a deliverance, we're telling the demon to get out. We're not putting God's sugar coating on there to make sure the hard shell candy is going to keep the demon from coming back in and so forth. We can help them get filled so the shell doesn't crack so easy, you know, when the priest puts it on there. But there's always a hierarchy with what we all do and how far we can do it. And the hierarchy means that, hey, if we can't do it, a priest will do it. The priest, you know, will have to go to the bishop-approved exorcist. Then if the exorcist can't do it, they may actually have to go to the or a different bishop. And most of the time, human free will is the problem. And psychological scars that are there from other things that prevent the spirit from leaving or makes it easy to come back in and out, in and out, in and out, revolving door stuff. Okay, I better cut this short because I don't want to leave it on all day, and we already have 26 minutes. My goal is to get them in for, you know, like 20 minutes perhaps. But I want to tell everybody God bless, and don't forget to see us on every Sunday on YouTube or the LNM network if you just want to listen to the radio. YouTube video, therealdeels.com has the how to listen and watch if you need some tips like, hey, I go to YouTube and all I get is this, I don't have HTML5. When you get, the live show is on, it's going to punish you if you have Windows XP. I don't know of any way to watch it on Windows XP with any browser that you got. I haven't tried Chrome. Okay, people and ladies and gentlemen, and God bless you, God love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Brother Kenneth is signing out now. Take care. 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 Care.